best thing is really going to be to just schedule some time onto your calendar. Take a look at a day on your planner or your digital Google Calendar, however you manage your time. What day do you have that you can set aside to create different things? Whether that is calling in a friend to come in and be a model for you, and you go and you film a bunch of detail shots. Doesn't have to be an actual client, doesn't have to be an actual bride, doesn't have to be on a trial or a wedding day. You could have a model come to your studio or even just come to your house, and what you do is you just put it in video mode, but do it in like cinematic so that the background is blurred out. Or you can film it directly inside the Instagram app, but you can set it, if you have an iPhone, to when you're filming video in stories itself or filming it as if you're like creating a reel, it's gonna blur the background for you. That's a setting that you can do directly through Instagram. Okay, you can do all of that and blur out your background. Nobody needs to know that it's not an actual wedding day. And what does it really matter? The content and the information that you're giving, or the story that you're telling, the connection to what they're looking at, that's what matters. It doesn't need to specifically be a bride. So these are really great tips if you are new, or if you like constantly get home and you're like, shit, I forgot to film stuff today. Set aside one day a month to have somebody come in. If you're a hairstylist and you don't need an actual living face to do makeup on, a doll head. A doll head is great to film some content that talks about it. You can do the same thing again with the waves and the light and everything hitting it. It doesn't have to be on a human being. It's hair. It's a zoomed in shot. It doesn't have to have this whole big background. It's literally, it's just a detailed shot. So you can do those kinds of things. Another good one that you can film for a makeup artist, you don't need a face at all. Your setup. Every time you set up your kit somewhere, take a video, take your phone, put it in cinematic. Again, I have an iPhone, so I love the photo and the video options for that. I don't know anything about Android, so whatever they have that's the equivalent of cinematic mode. But put it into cinematic mode, whatever mode you got, and just do a zoom, just do a pan over the top. That is a video that can very easily be the background of a reel, where the text is the important part. The information, the connection that you are making with your audience, that is the important part. Something to visually pull them in, to tell them, this is what I'm talking about, but the information that you give them, that is what's going to convert. That is what's going to help you get more eyes on it. That's what's going to help you convert more people into interested people. And then your admin and your booking process is what's going to convert them into booked clients. So you can go in and do detail shots of your products. Take a table, put something out that is like one of your branding colors. All right, so for me, for example, my branding colors are like a blush pink, gray, white, black, and like a soft kind of rose color. Okay, so you can go on Amazon and get a little mat that is like for underneath your computer, for your desktop or whatever. Get it in something that matches your branding. So this is like a blush pink one. I have a couple of them. I have one that's like right here. It's like a dark gray kind of color. You can get one in just plain white or whatever. And it's just gonna be a nice clean surface. Put it on a table, you know, a coffee table or a little side table, something that you can put in front of a window so that you have really nice light. And again, set your phone up on a tripod, pop it into some kind of mode that blurs out the background, and put a blush palette down or an eyeshadow palette or something, and zoom in on it. Move the phone forward. Don't do like the little zoom thing, but move it forward, and then take a brush and just do a video of you dipping the brush into that product. Super easy. You can create those for lipsticks, for blushes, for eyeshadows, your foundation onto a palette, okay, and dipping into it. All these different little kinds of product and detail kinds of things. Background images. Okay, you can do screenshots and then put your branding color sheer overlay of it, and that could be the background slide, and then you can use that for the text for asking for people for reviews. So it's something different every time. You could have 10 different ones once a month. There you go, 10 months of slides created for asking for reviews. There's so many different little things and videos that you can create that don't necessarily have to take time off of your wedding day. All right, there's so many different creative things. You can do these on a day when you're like, yes, I'm gonna make a list of all of these things that I want to create, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna film them. I'm gonna go in and I'm going to create them. So preparing yourself, getting all of these notes together, doing it on a day when you have a couple of hours. If I want to get shots for backgrounds of reels, so you might have seen a reel that I posted a couple of months ago of me sitting at lunch drinking a glass of water. And, it's talking about how you can have a life and build a business that has Sundays off. So you can go to brunch with your bestie. Okay. You don't have to pack your schedule full in order to be considered successful. I went to lunch with my best friend and we went to IKEA and all those kinds of things. And what we did was we filmed videos of each other for things on Instagram, whether it became reels or whether it became things that we posted in stories and stuff like that. So you could schedule a day with your best friend and just be like, hey, I need a cameraman, a camera woman, whatever. Come with me, let's create some things. And then you can have people taking videos of you. So many different ideas here, guys. Just think a little bit outside the box. What do you want to create? How can you relate it to your business? What do you need? Make yourself a list, block off a day, and get it done. Then it's sitting there and it's waiting for you, and you can reuse it in multiple different creative ways. Build up that bank, schedule the time for it, and then creating content from that bank just becomes super easy and effortless. You don't have to overthink it. Another thing that I want to tell you about scheduling, and this may seem kind of weird to some people or whatever, but it is something that I paid attention to in the last few months, and it has helped tremendously, and that is understanding your hormonal cycle and its impact on your energy levels. Okay, so I started following a doctor called Dr. Mindy Pelz. She has a YouTube channel. I'll put a link to it below. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and check out her channel. She's got some really interesting information about there. She wrote a book called Fast Like a Girl. I was struggling with premenopause, hormonal issues, weight gain, trouble sleeping, hormonal acne, all these kinds of things. And I was just really looking for solutions to help me now that I hit 40 and, things are kind of starting to go a little bit off the rails for me. So I found her, and she talks about in her book, like the different stages through your cycle, where, when you're on your period, here's what hormone is doing what, and here's how it impacts you. And I started paying attention, and she has this one part where she calls it the manifestation phase. And it's this like little 5-day window. And she talks about how your hormones influence your language skills. Okay, so do you ever get into like a part of your period where you're just like, or your whole menstrual cycle, I guess, where you're just struggling to come out with words and you're like, what is wrong with me? And you think, oh, maybe I'm just overly stressed or I'm overly tired or whatever. It could just be your hormones. It's chemicals, and it's chemicals in your brain, and it affects how your brain works. Okay, so this does end up having an actual impact. So now I can look at my calendar and be like, when am I in my manifestation stage? When is that 5-day period where naturally the hormones already going on inside my body support my language skills, my interpersonal skills? When am I going to have high energy? When can I schedule tasks on my calendar that are going to require a lot of energy or a lot of concentration? Or I'm not trying to film something when I am premenopausal and I am angry at everything and I'm annoyed at everything and I've got a breakout and I'm already feeling bloated and I already feel like I look like a troll. Everybody else may not see me and that I look like a troll, but I look in the mirror and I'm like, fuck this. I hate this. I hate this face. I hate this hair. I hate the skin. I hate this body. And, we all get those days. Not a great day to try and film some content. So I'm going to look at my schedule and be like, when are my good days? That's when I'm going to block some time off. And if you know your cycle and you know how many days you are, you can literally count and just be like, where's that 5-day window in every single month for the next 6 months? Pick a day in there, block it off now so you don't book anything else, and just say, okay, 1 day a month. This is going to be in my manifestation stage. This is going to be in my high energy stage. I know I'm going to be in a good mood that day. I know my skin's not going to be all freaking out that day. This is when I'm going to do it. And I've noticed since I've started implementing those types of things, I can get so much more done in that little 5-day window than trying to fit things on my to-do list when I have time gaps. So this might be something that really helps you with your consistency, because you can literally map this shit out for months, okay? Unless you have like a really crazy irregular cycle or whatever, but definitely go follow Dr. Mindy for that and read her book, because it will help you to regulate that stuff. Her stuff is really, really fascinating, whether or not you do the whole fasting side of things, or if you just take a look at understanding more deeply how your hormones impact just all the different pieces of your life, your energy, your sleep, your interpersonal skills, your relationships, your communication, like literally what's going on in your body impacts you at different periods. So you're not going crazy. You're not alone. Understanding this will help you. So when you have these types of things planned out, you can get not only in the right mental headspace and make sure that you're doing this on the right day of the month for yourself, but you can also take your time to sit there and be like, what do I need? What do I want to talk about? What struggles do I keep running into with my clients that I need to create content surrounding to address these concerns, to head things off at the pass? If it's something that keeps coming up over and over in your business, then it's a sign you need to create more content. You need to create something to get the information out to people before it becomes a problem. Okay, we can't, like I've talked in this topic about, we can't blame our brides many, many times before. If it's something that keeps coming up again, when you're sitting down and you're like, what am I going to film? That's a great place to pull from. What do you keep running into? What do you need to talk about? What do you need to prep for that? What kinds of visual things can you create into a content bank to support the topic you want to discuss? So thank you so much for joining me on today's conversation. I will see you back next week